Na make us no me bo one of the judges so can ho your friend Justice for Boakye for Justice for sometimes I know me say adentina ye no there's a reason why and Boakye Judge for Judge for na oti NCA case no so. Do you remember the NCA case? NCA case no after power society and the NPP government, the Attorney General, made up a case against the NCA directors to say they had committed a crime because you see the machines be by and normal they monitor a amount for conversation and almost a sikebi. So or suffer any any NPP bigwigs did everything possible to make sure say Attorney General the case no aba court. The NCA case, Judge Anno Eric for. What Eric for? I think I have Eric for's picture. It's in one of the folders. I don't think I can have it now for you. Besides, thank you, Mr. S, for bringing this out. Make sure 85 judges, no, not Judge Baku, we friend Eric for. Eric for too was one of the judges, not Chief Justice say. Yemfanin Supreme Court. This case, do you remember? NCA trial, Bafu Bonnie, William Steve, one other jailed 16 years. Nipa Otna sa case in the near friend Eric for. The reason why and the Ghana focus a judge be the a year warranted to me it was because of this case. The men in red, that was the caption for the case. On that show, Mekache Ghana for say the body language of the judge wasn't right. And that he was supposed to basically step back and look at his actions. How he was conducting himself in court. He looked more like he had a political posture than a sitting judge who was supposed to look at the case without being biased. That was my editorial. In fact, during my editorial, I even stated it in the editorial, say, Judge for during this trial, he was basically summoned by the General Legal Counsel about his conduct. And that the General Legal Counsel advised him that the case he is sitting on, he should do what? He should make sure that he is neutral and just enough to make sure, say, atena obebuno ombu atenen chiano. I was on this case, remember, Bafu Bonnie, the acting Chief Justice, Ninuya Enaneye, the head of NCA. Remember, this case was one of the most controversial cases. The NPP government did everything possible to push through because they wanted some political sympathy from Ghanaians when it came to power. I was on my show telling the judge, you have the right to sit on this case, but you being a judge doesn't mean you have too much power to basically, in quote, abuse anybody who comes before you. Chebafo said he's angry. Why am I making commentary about that case and also honor the warrant at so indefinite? Do you remember? This same judge, he's one of the judges, Madam Torkonoo, suggested and proposed to the president to move to the Supreme Court. So now you see where the connection is. Mr. Do you need me to read? Do you want me to read this story? Let me put this one up. Maybe I'm Refi. So he is one of the judges, apart from a judicial secretary, no. Madam Torkonoo wanted to move to the Supreme Court. Chebafo, do you know how he made his way to the appeals court or high court? No. You'll be shocked. And one day I'll come and sit here and read how he made his way so easily up there. So this was the case. And then I know, sorry, Kevin Taylor warranted that, so it was Chebafo. Madam Torkonoo wanted to move Chebafo to the Supreme Court. Court issues warrant for arrest of Kelvin Taylor Kevin. All because the High Court in Accra has issued a warrant for the arrest of social commentator Kelvin Taylor. Justice Eric Chebafo, who issued the warrant, said it was based on a vivid video in which Mr. Taylor reportedly made extremely scandalous and contemptuous statement against the court and the whole judicial administration of the country. Or say me cassette court no Mekasetia the judiciary into a send warrant. Yamechimi free America back to jail or Ghana. This was the same judge, Madam Torkonoo, in her final days, wanted to move to what? The Supreme Court. This is the same judge who basically jailed Ayadie NCA for Bafu Boni. And Bafu Boni, his younger brother, was the man this judge jailed for 16 years. Now you are getting the picture. The whole thing was planned to move some people who didn't deserve where they were to some places. Now do you get the picture? And MPP people were so excited. Oh, Kevin Taylor, J-Balfour has put Kevin Taylor, a warrant on Kevin Taylor, this guy. I came to show J-Balfour and his girlfriend's picture on my show. A young girl that he was sleeping with. If you don't know J-Balfour, let me show you the face of J-Balfour. I have his picture, him and his girlfriend, the Legon girl, and some other girls. I have some other pictures. This Judge J-Balfour. He said he sent a warrant after me. All because he was working his way to the Supreme Court. But you see, you don't basically destroy people's lives all because you have an ambition. There's nothing wrong you having an ambition, but you need to have the right ambition. You need to have the right ambition. And this is what we have been talking about. But Anna sometimes, so in the past, something was created in the hearts of Ghanaians. Don't speak about the judiciary. When a judge sits in court, whatever the judge does, you don't have to even question the judge. So some bad judges, and I'm not saying J-Balfour is a bad judge, I'm letting you understand, some judges took advantage of that and suppressed the people. In 2012, Judge J-Balfour in 2012, he was a circuit court. In 2012, he was a circuit court. He superintended over a cocaine case. It turned into Kokunte. It was this man. 2012, he was a circuit court. He superintended over a cocaine case. That cocaine turned into Kokunte. 2012. Go and check J-Balfour's record. Nana Kweku came and they moved him to the High Court. At a point, he was joining appeal court cases. And then Madam Torkonoo said he is ripe to be taken to the Supreme Court. J-Balfour. When he was in law school, 100 students in his class. Only first 40. He wasn't part of that class. Yeah, he knows. He was in class with all these lawyers you are seeing. So we need to understand. It is not personal. It is us trying to fix the system and making sure that the right thing is done. We don't hate anybody. We can speak to the judiciary. We can condemn judges when they are not doing the right thing. It does not mean it should affect the judge's work. Because whatever commentary a journalist gives, when a journalist says a judge is being biased, it does not mean that I have infringed on your right. It is up to you to make sure you do your job. If a journalist believes that some of the utterances and your actions, your body language, it does not really sound well or look good, a journalist has the right to question your body language. Do you guys want us to do lifestyle audit on judges in Ghana? Do you guys want us to do lifestyle audit? The kind of things wealthy people have amassed. When we do lifestyle audit in Ghana, most judges in Ghana will go to jail. Majority will go to jail. But that is not what we are talking about. We are talking about your actions and your conduct in the court. Judges are not supposed to be pleasing politicians. Judges are supposed to be just. Judges are supposed to look at the issue. Judges are supposed to speak and make sure everybody involved in the case is calm, because your decision can destroy lives. Because you don't want somebody to put your brother or your sister or your wife in jail for 16 years whilst you know some things were not done right. Whilst you know maybe the way you sat on the case, something wasn't right. You know deep down. If you decide to do lifestyle audit on Judge J-Balfour, do you think Judge J-Balfour you survive it? No. You won't survive lifestyle audits. Let us be a little bit, let us lower our ego a little bit. Let us understand people gave us opportunity. Let us respect the law, respect the power we the people we hold. The disrespect to senior judges, all because we are so affiliated to politicians. It is not going to do us any good. flexing our muscles and making senior judges look like they are kids, all because a politician had made you who you are. Because at the end of the day, who is senior is senior. And this is where we are today. Now, so we are talking about the CJ issue. A senior judge, a senior lawyer in Ghana is telling me to ask Madam Torkonoo. You see, there are things in Ghana that some people don't talk about because some can once didn't send me baba. I've received a message from one senior judge in Ghana. He's retired. And we retired the boy here now or retire. I say, please kindly ask Madam Torkonoo, what does she know about the Azuame case and what is the extent of her involvement in the said case? Is it true that she was the one who drafted the pleadings, wrote the statement of the case, and paid the filing fees? Stay tuned for more. Madam former CJ, the worst is yet to come. Please kindly fasten your seatbelt because your chicken are coming home to roast. This is from a judge. Do you know what is happening in our judiciary? Do you know what is happening in our judiciary? Do you know? You have no idea. So many things happen in the judiciary. There are people in Ghana, they are in jail because a judge was just angry. They are in jail because, were we not here when a judge sat in Ghana court and called Anas a terrorist? Were we not in this country? How can a judge go to that extent of looking into the face of a Ghanaian to call the person a terrorist? Abra, that judge cannot prove with any evidence that the person standing before him has killed intentionally, destroyed lives intentionally. A judge in Ghana sat in Ghana, emotional judges, looked in the face of Anas and said, you are a terrorist. A judge in America was scandalized when he heard that statement, that a judge sits in court without any facts to prove that somebody is a terrorist, just made that statement. Are you not scared? What to make a judge sit in court and make that statement? Are you not scared? You should be scared. If a judge can stand before a Ghanaian, with the intentions of destroying lives, now will be a terrorist in his courtroom, and goes ahead to say, you know something, this person, the case mean from out. Do you think it's a joke? This is Anas. This is Anas who, at least as we speak, this is Anas who, at least you and I, he has connections than you and I. You saw the way they treated Anas in court. They looked at his face and said, you are a terrorist. Now, what will show me? It does not matter whether you are MPP or NDC. We are talking about a judiciary that we need to protect. Kennedy Agyapong sat on national television to tell us all that a judge, he threatened a judge. He threatened a judge. You are a foolish judge. You are a stupid judge. You see what I will do to you. Kennedy Agyapong today wants to be president of Ghana. He was a mere member of parliament. He threatened the judge on national television. We have judges in Ghana, emotional judges, political judges. We have given them the power. Without us giving them the nod, majority of them will be homeless. The power the Constitution gave us through our members of parliament endorsed some of these judges to sit in the Supreme Court, to sit in our High Court, to sit in our Circuit Courts. But when we give them that authority to be just, to make sure that the law works for everyone, they take sides, some of them. For years, you people know that we've had issues with the judiciary. There are cases in the Supreme Court that had sat there for months. Serious national issues. Madam Torkonoo ignores. Afenyo Markin leaves the Parliament House. Within 2 hours, Madam Torkonoo calls the case. You think it's a joke? All because Afenyo Markin say, until one arm of government. Let me tell you, the 3 arms of government are independent. And legislature is most importantly important in the three arms of government. I'm telling you. Because through the legislature, the president can be kicked out. Through the legislature, the chief justice can be kicked out. So you don't underestimate the legislature. One person walks out of the legislature, walks to the Supreme Court, goes to the chief justice and say, my love, please undermine the legislature and give me what I want. No. That is not how you build a nation. That is not how you put a nation together. When you do that, you undermine the fundamental principles that binds a nation together. And you might not see it physically. Slowly, it creeps into the democracy of the nation. It kills the democracy. It's like slow poison. It destroys the fabric. That thing that holds us. So young Ghanaians or ordinary Ghanaians don't have justice when they go to our court. And you can testify to that. That at a point, you did not even want to go to court because you were not going to get justice. This is how bad Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo Addo and the MPP. This is how bad they sank our judiciary. People who had experience, who were supposed to be looked at and given positions to lead in the judiciary, to lead in the Supreme Court, they were overlooked because people had their own ambitions. They had their own diabolic ideas, what they wanted to use the power for. And that is what Akufo Addo did. What we are seeing today against our judiciary, in our judiciary, and all that we are seeing, the fault is the NPP Akufo Addo leadership. Because they were able to infiltrate, they were able to force our the Supreme Court to be like a circuit court. The respect the Supreme Court had, the respect that the Supreme Court yielded years back, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo Addo reduced it because he took control. He politicized the Supreme Court. We have a member of parliament, somebody who contested on the ticket of a sitting government. NPP moved to the Supreme Court. At least he could be qualified. He may be qualified. He may have everything. But at least, more NPP for na mo kase. Emrani daho. Nanka osep hama. At least, Emrani wo krampono. Anka onye de on changing na adwene no. At least the Akufo Addo could have said, wait your MPP ni. Somebody go Supreme Court. It will be too much of chaos. This is how bad. This is how they destroyed this nation. You have no idea. People were using the Supreme Court as their personal property. Afenyo Markin walks to the Supreme Court. Even the suit that he puts before Ghanaians, it looks shitty and shady. Like a lot of grammatical and inconsistencies because some people's idea is push it through. Not e-levy daho. Is this the court you and I want to trust? No. We need to reset the system. At a point, the court became personal issues. It became family property. The country was being destroyed. We were lucky that we came together to vote against the NPP. Look at the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission was taking an action that was wrong. The Chief Justice takes document and says, I am not here, so nobody is going to give date. We were all screaming. The Electoral Commission should not take this registration to district offices, and that every polling station should have the right. We should have access to polling stations for registration. Madam Torkonoo connived with the EC boss and said, no, I am going to give a date after the EC had taken the action. How do you call this a judiciary that has integrity? How do you sit back and see this as a normal thing? This isn't. There are so many inconsistencies in the actions of the Chief Justice. And let us stop hiding behind somebody is touching our democracy, somebody is touching a woman. It is about the protection of the democracy, making sure things are done right. So it is not about an individual. It is not about a woman. It is not about somebody's personal decision. It is about resetting the system to make sure that the belief that we have in our judiciary, that belief is something we can hold on to. And that is what I see the acting CJ trying to do. Recorrecting, resetting, making sure we have some belief in our court system. When you lose the trust in the Supreme Court, in any country, that country, the beginning of the end of that country starts from the day we lose the trust in our judiciary. This is what we talked about. This is what we are talking about. It is not hatred. It is not about a political party. It's about making sure the right things are done. And people at the end of the day understand that if they are given positions, they need to understand that they need to give respect to that position and also make sure that they deliver. They do not become partisan. They did not become, especially the judiciary, they do not become biased towards anybody. See the partnership, the friendship, the harmony the Chief Justice had with Afenyo Markin. See the disrespect the Chief Justice disrespected the legislature, the Speaker of Parliament. How this Afenyo Markin wanted to drag the legislature in mud. And how the Chief Justice wholeheartedly wanted or helped Afenyo Markin to deliberately disrespect the legislature. It is not right. It is never right. See how Akufo Addo infiltrated the Ghana Bar Association. The Ghana Bar Association. It became a waiting room for Akufo Addo. He goes there to sell his political message. In the history of the Republic, since the Ghana Bar Association was put together, there's been no precedent. Majority of the president or any president that went to the Ghana Bar Association event basically stood in the middle of the conversation. But another Danko Akufo Addo, that is where he went to cook his political, with all due respect, shit. He cooked it there, and we got lawyers clapping, cheering, because politics had infiltrated the Ghana Bar Association. That is the pain. That is what we are looking at. That is the glass that we are looking through. It is not about Torkonoo. With all due respect, she's one person. There are other judges in Ghana like Torkonoo who are smarter than Torkonoo. So if Torkonoo is not there, can't we get another woman? But it's not about her. It is not about her as a woman. It is not about her as an individual. It is about the institution that we all want to protect. And let us be honest here. Who has sacked Torkonoo? She has not been sacked. Process needs to work. And the new king, new law. Dear Nesi. Dear Sinene say, thank you very much, team. And the dear Sinene say, you see that her leadership, Sarah Pamela Granting resigns as judicial secretary. Acting CJ, elevate deputy pending counsel's decision. Let me take the story again, I'm sorry. Her ladyship Sarah Pamela Granting resigns as judicial secretary. Acting CJ elevates deputy pending counsel decision. And you see the judicial secretary. Oba court Ghana nyina any court Ghana nya judiciary nyina your mama bi oda no on the secretary, technically on the secretary to the Chief Justice. It is like also in basic standard mo bi atiasia Chief Justice Madam Torkonoo ne secretary nie ansa na wo de krata bi akokoma Madam Torkonoo yourself mama we nsem enti yeka Madam Torkonoo secretary panyini a onie your friend lead Sarah Pamela. Now ade chin na Mami we say ono so adwuma no onya biom ode ne krata ba adan ne buofu say ne boss ya man suspension to ono so say onya adwuma ne biom we jai because all tia say account na ya na account to ade bia the boss ye bia and ahoma so the boss na also tia say ono so ahoma no be so the nine. She's being smart. If maybe you are not smart to know this, let me tell you the truth about this issue is that Mami Wey, she resigned about 2 weeks ago. I knew she resigned about 2 weeks ago. She held the letter. You know the reason why she didn't release? She was waiting to see, say, the petitioner, the president, it was going to go through the process to get to that point where this woman, her fate to be decided, say, she's going to be suspended or not. So she was waiting. If Torkonoo had not been suspended, this woman wouldn't have resigned. She's resigning because she knows, say, if the committee finds Torkonoo guilty of any crime, because remember, that committee investigation is done by, if they find Torkonoo guilty, Torkonoo can be trialed. Torkonoo does not just walk as being found guilty. The law can be applied for Torkonoo to be trialed. Because for a committee crime, she needs to be trialed by the law. It this woman knowing, say as far as Torkonoo has been suspended, say investigation ko end the neighbor with Torkonoo bokrono from her actions, she is technically guilty of that crime too. Because every single document Torkonoo had, every little thing Torkonoo did, Biano, she basically worked with her to do it. And she has seen the light, and quickly she's saying, say, Madam, walk alone, because I cannot go take the fall with you. And the way resignation in that, and then 2 weeks ago, now resignation were ready. She was just waiting to see. That is why they pumped a lot of energy into MPP press conferences. If there was somebody leaking information to the MPP and Poladoma Chirimoa, it was this lady. All the information that was coming out, say, this is something speculative. When you had to say, oh, petition him, when you had to say the person who was doing that, it wasn't anybody from Miami way or na a leaky to Poladoma Chirimoa MPP mu say, talk about this, talk about this, talk about this. Now she has seen the reality. She say, no, I'm not going to go down with you because Oba and I'm Waha and judiciary Juman Papa dia and your mama dia into Madam Torkonoo walk. She was pressing her boss Torkonoo to resign even before the petition reached this point. Do you know? At a point when the petition came in, when the Chief Justice demanded for the petition, this lady told Madam Torkonoo to resign voluntarily. And that when she resigns, what is going to happen is that she was going to walk home with all her pecs. Everything that comes with it, a Chief Justice who voluntarily resigned, she was going to go home with it. Now, Madam Torkonoo told her, say, she had the backing of the MPP and that she was going to fight the NDC, fight the president, not the NDC, fight the president till she disgraces the president. That is why she was still in there. Because on a normal day, when the speculation started that there was a petition against the Chief Justice, and the first time that we heard that the president had forwarded it to the Council of State, if the Chief Justice wanted Ghanaians to know that she wasn't guilty of any crime, she would have resigned that day to let the world know, say, you know what, I don't like this back and forth and all these issues. At the end of the day, I came to occupy this position. It is not my mother's position. I can leave it. What else? For somebody to write a petition about me. But she thought she could fight the system. She thought she could fight the Constitution because she was so much filled. She was filled with so much power and arrogance. She thought that everybody would bow before her. And see, this one was advising Torkonoo, Madam, let us all walk out. Torkonoo said no, because I have the backing of Afenyo Markin. I have the backing of the NPP. They will make noise. We will leak information. Right now, this woman today, finally, she has presented her letter to the acting Chief Justice. Now, the new Chief Justice is a no-nonsense man. He has been there. He has been there from day one. Mr. Bafuboni, who is the acting Chief Justice, he was there before Torkonoo came. He knows how things work at the Supreme Court than any of the judges in the Supreme Court today. Yeka class prefect, Yeka senior most senior, or what Supreme Court were. This man was supposed to be a Chief Justice before Torkonoo. Politics intra, and how Akufo Addo undermine and demean judges who were qualified to be Chief Justices. So the new Chief Justice, the acting Chief Justice, is not a kid in this game. The moment this woman handed over her resignation, ehona na o electe and I say or pick the deputy to act. As I speak, the deputy has been handed over this position as the judicial secretary for work to keep going. We are not going to stop. And I believe and I trust the way this new acting Chief Justice is doing. On per se, the workflow and stop the workflow. Because one person cannot stop the workflow of the judiciary. If you want to resign today, you need to understand somebody is going to replace you to make sure the workflow keeps on going. As we speak, the acting Chief Justice, he has basically, let me show you the letter. This is the letter stating clearly that the acting Chief Justice, Watchro Edia Koma Bawumia also are resigning. Okay. Into the resignation letter ne ba no. And the acting Chief Justice, Mr. Bonny, I say, Mr. Metro letter, bro. So I resign here a year. In fact, the acting Chief Justice in the letter, but no, I mean, stated clearly what he actually wrote in the letter to this lady. I mean, reading through. I say, at the 209th meeting of the Judicial Council held on Wednesday, 26th March 2025, the council accepted the request by His Lordship, Syria Pamela Koranteng, to be released from the duties of Judicial Secretary. Wherefore, you are hereby directed to assume the duties of Judicial Secretary pending decision by the Judicial Council and the eventual appointment of a substantive Judicial Secretary. Members of Judiciary, the Judicial Services of Ghana and the general public are to take note accordingly. Please accept my best wishes. Inti, Mami wedding resignation koyana and na the acting Chief Justice onusu yi His Lordship Justice a new person to replace Madam Serum. So when you read the document, the acting Chief Justice has done what? He has accepted the woman's resignation. Emma, the deputy, and the acting Chief Justice has suggested the council, the General Legal Council, to consider her as the acting. Somebody to be the substantive judicial services for opinion. They will get the person to be. And for now, no, the deputy to this lady, no, has taken over as the acting judicial services board, a boss. Inti, that is it there. So you can see clearly, say. Thank you very much. Thank you, team. You can see clearly, say, the acting Chief Justice, no, he's not playing. So also I resign ajo letter obi acti enimaniana ejumane koso ejumano enrest. Nobody is going to rest. But you see, the most interesting thing about the American children is say, now me come ami we asem this woman. Do you know that this woman was one of the women na Madam Torkonoo was trying to slot because a slaughter na or suggest or cast or person in the Supreme Court. This judicial services for a secretary, Chief Justice Madam Torkonoo wanted to make her a Supreme Court judge. Do you know? She actually proposed to the president that this woman who is the judicial services, the almost secretary, Madam Torkonoo wanted to make this woman a Supreme Court judge. So, Refia, it was when this issue came up, when Madam Torkonoo, ambulance case judge, 4 others recommended for Supreme Court. Case Wemukai 2024 July. Madam Torkonoo wanted to make the judicial secretary a chief justice, a Supreme Court judge. Do you remember? Aha. This was the lady Anna Torkonoo Pesa Oyeno, a judge in the Supreme Court. Now, say Onkaya, the Chief Justice then, Madam Torkonoo, wrote a letter to the president proposing some names to the president to say, or for president and promote to Omunko Supreme Court. Do you remember? Let me show you the letter. Abiana Refi. Remember this letter? This was the letter Chief Justice Madam Torkonoo, Extra Command, Anno Akufo Addo, the 30th of May 2024. Akache Akufo Addo say, or proposing for appointment of 5 judges to the Supreme Court. This woman who just resigned as the judicial secretary, she was part of the people that Madam Torkonoo wanted to make her a Supreme Court judge. It came in the system for some time. Let me enlarge it. You can see it, right? Who read the letter now? His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo. The date today is 30th May 2024. President of the Republic of Ghana, Jubilee House, Accra, Your Excellency. This was a letter the Honorable Chief Justice wrote to the President proposing 5 judges on promote more informal a Supreme Court. And the lady who just resigned today, no, Judicial Secretary, or the Secretary to Madam Torkonoo. Madam Torkonoo suggested her. She actually proposed, said that lady, Nana Addo Akufo Addo, should move her to the Supreme Court. And internet them, I'm resigning because the boss, enwa ke dwem. Into read the letter now, this is what Madam Torkonoo wrote. Proposal for appointment of 5 judges to the Supreme Court. Thank you very much, team, for bringing this in. Read the letter now. I write to respectfully request that the following judges be appointed to the Supreme Court of Ghana. 1. Her Ladyship Justice Angela Mensah Homia J.A. His Lordship Justice Eric Chebafo. Mukai Chebafo. We are make up Chebafo one samachiro. Mr. S, get me Chebafo and the NCA case who actually jailed the people. NCA case them the second person, His Lordship Justice Eric Chebafo. I'll talk about Chebafo, you know. Number 3, His Lordship Justice Edward Amwaku Asante. Number 4, Her Ladyship Justice Sarah Pamela C.A. Kweku. And Her Ladyship Justice Efia Asare. So these were the 5 judges, including Mahamadu Bawumia resigning the Madam Torkonoo secretary. She included her name in the judges she was proposing. She suggested to the president to move them to the Supreme Court of Ghana.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.